And you are looking live at Bob Wren Stadium in Athens, Ohio, on the campus of Ohio University for what is promising to be a wonderful day of Maction baseball. Gavin Carrig and Josh Herner are your broadcasters for today's matchup between the visiting Central Michigan Chippewas and the hosting Ohio Bobcats. We'll go ahead and start with Central Michigan. Senior Jacob Donahue, the right fielder for today's game. He's been on fire. Josh, what have you seen from him?
Yeah, Gavin, he's hitting 347 on the year. However, lately in their last two games, he's 5 for 10. He is the anchor in the Central Michigan lineup. He's hitting second. He's going to get a lot of at-bats today, and that's definitely a guy OU has to key in on for Central Michigan.
Yeah, and you speak about OU now transitioning over to the hosting Bobcats out of Athens. You look at this team, it's a very freshman-heavy team. This team is a very youthful movement coming through Athens here, and that's none other than thanks to one of their standout freshmen, J.R. Nelson, the starting shortstop for today's game. Josh, what have we seen from him?
Yeah, Gavin, J.R. Nelson's coming off a 3 for 5, 3 RBI performance against Kent State, and you can tell he's getting more comfortable as the season goes on. He's another guy that's going to hit second for OU today. He's going to get a lot of at-bats, and if he gets on, he's dangerous. He leads OU with 5 stolen bases, and if he could be running bases a lot today, Gavin, if OU's getting him on.
He certainly could be, Josh. Now we're looking over into the overall look of this game. The Bobcats come into this one 7-11, 3-3 in the Mid-American Conference. Central Michigan 4-17, only 1-5, that one win in the MAC so far. You look at the history of this series from March of 2008 till now. Ohio is 11-31 against the Chips. Josh, what does that say to you?
Yeah, Gavin, this is going to be a tough game for Ohio today. Don't look at Central Michigan's record and don't judge them based off of that. They are 4-17. However, they've had to play some really tough opponents earlier in the season, including Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, and Oral Roberts. They've had a really tough non-conference schedule, and it's going to be interesting to see how they play in Maction because we all know every game matters.
It certainly does. It's nothing like Maction. Look, you look at Ohio 2-8 against CMU in the past 10 matchups. I believe we are getting ready for the anthem, so we're going to go ahead, take a quick break. We will be right back here on Ohio Bobcat TV. And welcome back to Bob Brand Stadium. A little correction for you. CMU will be the home team because this game was supposed to be played in Central Michigan, in Mount Pleasant. But because of the snow that they have had and supposed to be having over this weekend, we are looking to, and we are playing this game here in Athens, Ohio. So the Bobcats will be the visiting team in this game and probably in the rest of this series. We're going to go ahead and look into Central Michigan's starting pitcher, Adam Rakic. The junior has a 1-3 record, a 6.38 ERA, 24 innings pitched, 14 walks, but 37 strikeouts. Josh, 37 strikeouts is nothing to take lightly.
Oh, no, Gavin, and this guy's going to work with a 4-pitch mix, so you're going to see his fastball sit around 83 to 85 miles an hour. He's going to work in a curveball, a slider, and a changeup, and that's a dangerous pitch mix. That's something OU has to look out for. They're going to have to sit off speed a little bit at some points during this game today.
And we'll go ahead and start off now. Leading off the Bobcats will be Paulie Mancino. Then after that, J.R. Nelson, Gideon Antle, Alex Finney, Trey Cassidy, A.J. Roush, Bryce Smith, Blake Reed, and Nick Dolan rounding it out for the Bobcats. Now up freshman Paulie Mancino. He's batting .298 on the year. First pitch from Rakic is taken and called a strike. We are underway at Bob Brand Stadium. 0-1 the count.
Yeah, Gavin, this is where Ohio's hitters can look to be in trouble with that dangerous off-speed pitch mix. They have to be careful getting down in counts early.
The windup, the pitch, called a strike there on the inside corner. Mancino now down 0-2 early, and like you just said, Josh, you don't want to fall behind Rakic too early.
No, not at all.
Rakic now in the set. The windup and the pitch. Little low. 1-2 now the count.
So something we've seen so far early, Gavin, he's ran 3 fastballs. So that's something OU has to keep an eye out for. Again, we highlighted that off-speed. You wonder when he's going to mix that in.
I wouldn't be surprised if on this pitch he did throw in that off-speed. Just a bit inside right there. That looked to be, once again, that fastball. 4 straight fastballs now from Rakic. We haven't seen that off-speed like we thought we would have. 2-2 now the count. The windup. Pitch from Rakic is swung on and missed. Paulie Mancino goes down for the first strikeout of the game. That's Rakic's first. Now bringing up J.R. Nelson, a guy who we talked about in the pregame, and for good reason. He's coming into this one with a .369 average through 17 games, as well as 7 RBIs and 5 stolen bases. Nelson steps in. The pitch from Rakic is fouled right back to us.
I jumped a little bit
I
there,
did too. I did too. That ball was legit coming straight for us right there. But 0-1 the count. Nelson just a little bit under that one. You have to think that he probably liked that pitch, and his eyes lit up when he saw that one. Wind up from Rakic. And swung on and missed right there. There's the off-speed that we've talked about from Rakic.
Yeah, that's something that, again, him working the fastball, him throwing 6 straight, and then immediately going to the off-speed, it definitely threw Nelson off a little bit there.
It just drops out from under you there. Nelson now down 0-2 in the count. Rakic, the windup, and the pitch. And way right back up the middle from J.R. Nelson. Good piece of hitting. Down 0-2 in the count. He got a piece of that one. He liked it. Drove it right back where it came from.
Yeah, great piece of hitting there from Nelson. He took that pitch right up the middle. That's what you're supposed to do. Hard ground ball, line drive that got through for a base hit.
Now brings up the center fielder, Gideon Antle. Gotta say, I'm a big fan of those stirrups.
Yeah, the uniforms today for OU, they're looking really nice. Of course, they're in the green. And, you know, it's always a great day for baseball, even though the weather's a little bit colder here down in Athens.
First pitch is in there. Strike at the knees on Antle. You got to wonder, too, Nelson has 5 stolen bases on this year. If he's going to try and take off from first base over there, he's got a good lead. Rakic from the set. Looks over. And fouled off deep down that right field line. That would have been a nice piece of hitting if that ball stayed fair.
Yeah, Gavin, we're seeing early, though, OU hitters falling behind in the count. 0-2, 3 straight 0-2 counts. Rakic is working quick and efficiently so far, even though he did give up that base hit to Nelson.
Yeah, and you got to wonder, too, if we're going to see a little bit of deja vu if Ansel can get an 0-2 hit just like Nelson did.
We all know how dangerous Antle is. He's hitting .430 on the year, and he's a guy that Central Michigan definitely has to watch out for. That's a dangerous 2-3 duo in the OU lineup.
And then you bring in Alex Finney, too, who has 15 RBIs in that 4-hole. If you can get someone into scoring position, watch out for him. Mrakic takes a look over at first, winds up and delivers, and that's in the other batter's box. 1-2 now the count. OU trying to work back from these counts, like you just said, Josh. They're really down in these counts, 0-2, 1-2. Nelson on first. And he throws it back over, keeping a close eye over there on J.R. Nelson at first base.
Yeah, you definitely have to keep a close eye on Nelson. However, him having a lefty on the mound is a little bit different. It is really hard to steal off lefties because they're always looking at you. And, it's tough to get a read for what Mrakic is going to do.
Mrakic with the pitch, and inside gets away. And there goes Nelson. He's in there. Yes, he is. He's under the tag.
That was really close. That was a nice block from Central Michigan's catcher there. Nick Dardis, excuse me, as I checked his name really quickly. But it was a really nice block. He didn't let it get too far away from him, but that was a great jump from Nelson there. He read that ball perfectly off of the block.
That's now his 6th stolen base of the year. You mentioned a great play from Dardis to keep that ball in there. And did Ansel go? Yes, he did. Check swing, but too much in the eyes of the umpire.
Yeah, he clearly went around on that. You couldn't tell if he wanted to commit to that. That was
right.
It looked like he was sitting fastball there, and he got fooled a little bit by that off speed. Mrakic doing a great job just subtly working in the off speed when OU's least expecting it.
That's his 2nd strikeout of this inning. 2 early strikeouts now. That brings up Alex Finney, the 5th-year second baseman, batting .290. Like we said, 15 RBIs, and he has another guy in scoring position, so he can add to that. The first pitch from Mrakic is taken on the outside corner. 1-0 is the count. Always got to be careful, too, here at Bob Wren of this big backstop, because you never want to let a speedy guy like J.R. Nelson take a free base if a pass ball happens. Same location on that one, 2-0. Mrakic has missed outside of the plate now. Wondering, too, if that might have to do with that lefty-righty matchup that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different. You're wondering if he's going to work that fastball outside and trying to get ahead early in the count and then come back inside with the off-speed with that wipeout slider and the curveball.
Fouled off right there by Finney. Now 2-1 is the count. Got to wonder, too, with freshman Trey Cassidy, he's batting .471 on the year. You don't want to give any free passes, but you also don't want to let a guy like that come back up to plate. And a little bit of a high strike there. Seemed that ball kind of just floated back into the strike zone.
Yeah,
there,
I
Josh.
think that was a changeup there, Gavin. He really worked that one in well. It looked like Alex Finney in that 2-1 count was expecting the fastball with how many Mrakic has thrown, but he got fooled there a bit.
2-2, and that's inside. That one gets past Dardis, and once again, we just said that big backstop here at Bob Wren plays into factor, and Nelson moves up from 2nd to 3rd. And there's really right there nothing that Dardis could do behind the plate. That one was always going to get away from him back there.
Yeah, this is a big pitch here in the game so far early on. You definitely now, with Nelson on 3rd, a base hit will for sure score him. So this is a big opportunity for OU. You don't want to leave guys stranded early on.
You definitely don't want to. I mean, whenever you have guys out there, you want to always bring them in. 3-2, 2 outs. And ball 4, high and outside, Alex Finney. Walked now 1st and 3rd for the Bobcats. Brings up Trey Cassidy. Like we said, he's batting .471 on the year. Once again, another young freshman on this team.
Yeah, Gavin, he has been dangerous lately. He's 8 for 17, his first 17 at-bats of the year. And another guy, a young star. This is just a freshman. OU has 2 really, really, really good freshmen in J.R. Nelson and Trey Cassidy.
You can also throw in the leadoff guy, Paulie Mancino. He's batting .298 so far on this year, with 11 RBIs of his own. First pitch is taken high and outside. A very good eye right there from Trey Cassidy. 1-0 now the count. J.R. Nelson at 3rd, Alex Finney at 1st. 2 outs in the top of the 1st inning here. The windup and the pitch is called a strike on the corner. That one also seemed to kind of just slide right into the strike zone there,
Yeah,
Josh.
we're getting early, Gavin, the home plate umpire, giving the pitchers a little bit of help early on, but that was a really nice pitch from Mrakic.
Rakic now with that same pitch this time gets Cassidy to bite at it. 1-2 on that swing and miss from Trey Cassidy.
You can tell early on here, too, in this at-bat that Rakic doesn't want to throw Cassidy anything good. I think he respects how good he's been playing lately and wants to work that outer part of the plate.
The lefty on lefty delivering. Once again, it's that same pitch. Kind of just dips away from that left-handed batter. But now that makes it 2-2.
I'm going to guess that's his slider. He's
Say
working
that
away from
definitely
Cassidy.
it definitely seems like it.
Yeah, that'll work in the righties and away from lefties.
Rakic with the pitch. And he got him looking right down the pipe. Rakic now with his third strikeout of the day, also third strikeout of the inning. We'll go ahead and take a little break. We'll be right back on Ohio Bobcat TV. Welcome back to Bob Wren Stadium here on the banks of the Hocking River in a cold but sun's trying to peek out here in Athens, Ohio. The clouds are starting to come back out. We had the sun earlier in the top half of the first. As we get set for the bottom half of the first, this is our first look at junior Dylan Masters, the pitcher for Ohio. 1-0 on the year, 3.66 ERA, 19.2 innings pitched, 18 strikeouts, and 11 walks. Josh, what do you have on him?
Yeah, Gavin, he was a standout performer in last week's opener against Kent State. He went 6 2/3, 3 earned runs, 5 Ks, and 114 pitches. And it's safe to say the Murray State transfer has solidified his spot in the OU starting rotation.
He certainly has. He gets ahead of Bryson Webb, the shortstop for Central Michigan. 0-1. This one, 1-1.
Yeah, Gavin, look for him to utilize his fastball a lot today. He was going to work in a curveball and maybe even a little bit of a slider here, but he's going to rely heavy on that fastball.
There's that fastball once again. Masters now ahead 1-2 in the count on Bryson Webb. Works fast, wind up, and the pitch, and he got him swinging. That's the first strikeout for Masters on the day, and that's exactly how you want to start.
Yeah, you could tell with Masters he likes to work quickly there. He wasn't taking a lot of time in between pitches. He wants to get in his groove early, and he's done a great job of that so far, starting out with a strikeout.
He certainly has. That's the perfect way to start now. Welcoming into the batter's box is Jacob Donahue, the senior right fielder. He's batting at .347, a guy we talked about in that pregame show. And first one, just a little bit outside. Good job of framing right there from Trey Cassidy behind the plate.
Yeah, he almost got that strike call there.
Masters is working fast, and he gets that one on the inside corner, 1-1. He definitely does not let that pitch clock bother him, and he's working fast again. There was that off speed. 1-2 now the count.
He doesn't even step off the mound.
He really doesn't.
He gets right back on the mound, catches the ball, and is ready to work.
And that one, deja vu, the first inning, to where it's a hit up the middle, but a great job right there by Finney to try and he did come down with it. He just couldn't get up in time to try and make that play.
That was a great piece of hitting from Jacob Donahue right there. He saw 2 inside fastballs, saw the outside fastball, knew he was down in the count, and just got a good piece on it, enough to get him to first base.
Donahue now at first base, 5 stolen bases for him on the year, so a guy like Nelson to where he can pose a threat. But steps in now Danny Westenfeld, 288 average on the year. And did he go on that one? Yes, he did, says the first base umpire. 0-1. Once again, Masters is getting ahead of all of these batters and doing it fast, too.
Yeah, Gavin, something to keep an eye on, too. Central Michigan currently leading the MAC in stolen bases with 40 on the year so far. They like to get out, and they like to get their guys in scoring position by stealing bases.
The 0-1 is dropped in there. Called strike. 0-2 is now the count. The pitch from Masters, and he goes over to first once again. Masters, a lefty, just like when you look at his counterpart on the day of Mrakic on Central Michigan, also a lefty. 2 lefties starting. And again, like you said, Josh, that pickoff move is lethal when they use it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard to get a read on a lefty trying to steal a base, as we see Masters check on Donahue over there again, but it is hard to get a jump and a lead because you don't know if that lefty's coming over.
No, you never know. You can never tell until it's too late. Masters now going to home, and a little low on that one seemed to be the off speed right there that kind of just dipped out there too early in the end of it. 2-2 now the count, 1 out, bottom of the first inning. And once again, he's keeping a really close eye over there on Donahue at first base, and that's probably a good thing, too.
Yeah, Danny Westenfeld has to get ahead here in the count, work it to 3-2. However, right behind him,
and there he goes. And it was a foul tip off the bat of Westenfeld. And once again, like we just said, Donahue, he was probably going to take off, and he just did right there.
Yeah, you almost wonder if that was a little bit of a hit-and-run scenario there.
It definitely seemed like it, yeah, because he was going to swing probably a seam no matter what. He got him looking on the 2-2. Beautiful pitch from Masters, his second strikeout. It really is almost like deja vu of this first inning, Josh.
Yeah, Gavin, we're seeing these two guys heavily reliant on their fastballs. Their Dylan Masters working quick. It throws the hitters off a little bit. It looked like Westenfeld wasn't ready for that fastball right there. Great pitch mix there from Masters.
It definitely did not seem like it. Masters now 2 strikeouts on the day, welcoming in Spencer Verberg now. Once again, looking back over at Donahue in first base. He's really keeping that close eye on him. Verberg comes into this one with a 143 average, 5 RBIs, and a stolen base himself. The redshirt sophomore, DHing this game. He takes that first one, and that's a strike from Masters. Once again, he's getting ahead of his batters.
Yeah, Verberg's coming off one of his better performances of the year against Oakland. He went 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs, and you could tell he's a big spot for this Central Michigan lineup as the 4-hitter.
He is. And you mentioned Oakland. Their basketball team just upset Kentucky, and they play once again today.
Yeah.
I have to mention March Madness. It's one of the best times of the year, but we're talking baseball here as the 0-1 pitch is low and away for 1-1.
Again, we talked about something just to keep an eye on for later. Masters throwing 114 pitches against Kent State. You wonder if he has that big of a leash again today against CMU. You know, you wonder if you're going to let him get into the hundreds, the 110s again. And if he can get you 7 innings, that's great for the doubleheader today.
Right, because again, like you just mentioned, Josh, this is the first of 2 games. And off goes Donahue, but a great piece of hitting right there by Verberg, and that's going to be now first and third. Sends Donahue over to third base on the hit and run. Work to perfection right there by Spencer Verberg.
Great piece of hitting there from Verberg. He was a little out in front of that fastball, however, got the barrel on the ball quickly, read the fastball, and took it to left field for a base hit.
Speaking of left field, that brings up the CMU left fielder Mikey Murphy, batting .200 on the year. But he does have 18 strikeouts, so I'm sure that Masters would love to make that 19. Not off to the best start as that off-speed dipped out a little too early. 1-0 to the CMU left fielder. The windup and the pitch, and that's fouled off way out of here. That might get out of Bob Brennan. Might be closer to the river if we think about it.
You got to wonder here, too, if you're Central Michigan, do you maybe send Verberg just to try and get Donahue home? Do you sacrifice that out for that run here? That's probably something that Central Michigan's thinking about.
And a swing and a miss right there on the 1-1. 1-2. Masters, once again, he was down early, but now he was able to work his way back into the count. Now 1-2. Masters going to go fast here. Wind up and the pitch. And a big lead over there of Spencer Verberg on first base. I thought he might have taken off on that one. He almost seemed to be halfway to second base right there.
That was a really good block from Trey Cassidy.
Very.
I think if he doesn't, that doesn't pop right in front of him, Verberg's probably on second.
And the foul tip off the bat of Mikey Murphy. Staying alive now. First and third, Jacob Donahue over at third base. Spencer Verberg on first for the Chippewas. Mikey Murphy in the batter's box. 2-2, 2 outs. The windup and the pitch, and that is skied into right field. Oh, that ball's carrying. That ball's carrying. That ball is out of here. See you later. Yes, sir. That one is out of here.
Well, Mikey Murphy that was a perfect piece of hitting right there on the outside fastball. He took it to right field exactly where that's supposed to go, got the barrel on the ball, and that ball really carried even in the colder weather. And that was, wow, that's a big start for Central Michigan to start this game off.
It absolutely is, and now that is his second home run of the season. I was going to mention he had one home run already. Could he go again? And, well, he just did. Masters now down 1-0 in the count. You got to wonder, too, what that does to a pitcher's confidence because, you know, you get two guys out early. You almost get out of the inning, but then you allow a 3-run bomb. And now he's down 3-0 in the count. Again, you just got to wonder now. You talked about him possibly going deep into this game. Maybe he doesn't now, but he does work back and make it 3-1.
Masters, he's still working quick there on the mound. You could tell he's not going to let it rattle his confidence.
He's certainly not, and that's going to be ball 4 on the outside corner. He walks the second baseman, Jack Eichler. That's the first walk issued by Dylan Masters on the day. That brings up the catcher, senior Nick Dardis, who, again, had some clutch blocks of his own behind the dish in the top half of the first inning. Dardis, 205 average coming into this game, 9 walks and 13 strikeouts. And Masters gets that call on the outside corner, 0-1 to Nick Dardis. Eichler over there, first base. 3 stolen bases of his own on the year. And swing on and a foul tip right there off the bat of Dardis. Now makes it 0-2. Once again, Masters getting back into things now, 0-2. Once again, we've seen him do that quite a few times.
Yeah, something you're always going to have in the back of your mind, especially Jack Eichler at first, is he going to go? You know, you got to wonder, 0-2, maybe 2 outs. They're trying to make something happen, trying to scratch another run across in the inning, you know. So that's just something Masters is always going to have in the back of his mind.
That 1-2 pitch taken on the outside corner by Dardis. That one in the dirt, but, well, I should say in the turf. This is turf now, of course, here at Bob Wren, but a great job right there by Cassidy to stop that from getting to the backstop.
Yeah, really nice sliding block there from Cassidy.
2-2, and, well, there goes Eichler, but a rip down the left field line, but it's going to be foul off the bat of Dardis. He got a hold of that one.
Yeah, Masters has to be careful here throwing that fastball again to Dardis. You got to wonder if he's sitting fastball right now. You want to hit him with that off speed.
And it was that fastball, too, that Mikey Murphy took deep for that 3-run shot we just saw moments ago. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And once again, the runner from second goes. And the throw is in there too late. Stolen base by Jack Eichler. That's going to be his 4th stolen base on the season. Seemed that Cassidy kind of could not bring them from glove to ball.
Yeah, Cassidy had trouble on the transfer there a little bit. You could tell it didn't get it cleanly.
Full count now, and that's going to be back-to-back walks issued by Dylan Masters. This time to Nick Dardis. Now a guy on first and a guy on second for senior center fielder Jake Brill. He's batting 220 on the year, 7 RBIs, but 14 strikeouts. So you might want to try and make that 15 right here if you're Dylan Masters. But once again, you look at CMU, a lot of guys know how to drive in runners. A lot of these guys are probably in these positions for a reason in the lineup. and shows bunt, pulls it back, but once again, Masters jumps ahead of his batter 0-1.
That's something really interesting there, Gavin. You see the first baseman for OU playing a little bit back. It looked like Brill wanted to lay one down on the right side right there.
And you got to think if he did, that would have been a very tough play for Smith over there at first base. The 0-1 is taken for a ball, 1-1. Runners on second and first for the Chips. Jake Brill in the batter's box. The 1-1. And he's got him in a pickle now. Eichler over there at second base. And he will be tagged out. Great job right there from Masters to use his pickoff move to perfection. And that's going to go ahead and end the inning. We will be back right here on Ohio Bobcat TV. And welcome back here on Ohio Bobcat TV. 6-7-8 for the Bobcats due up in this top half of the second inning, led off by A.J. Roush. He's batting .302 on the year, so he's someone who you want to try and get going, and probably the guy that you want to try and get going to try and combat this 3-0 deficit.
Yeah, Gavin, he's been a consistent starter for OU since 2022, where he was a redshirt freshman, now a junior. He's had a 2-home-run game versus Campbell, so this guy is dangerous.
And Roush lays it down. Is he going to get down the line fast enough? No, he is not. The 1-3 right there. I believe that's our first position-to-position out of the game, Josh.
Yeah, Gavin, it's been a lot of walks and a lot of strikeouts so far, and a couple base hits in there, and, of course, the big home run.
It was.
So that was the first play I think Central Michigan or Ohio's had to make so far.
I believe it was, and that brings up now graduate student Bryce Smith. He's at first base for this game, and he's going to go ahead and foul that one off down the left field line. Very foul indeed. 0-1 now. Once again, Mrakic is kind of doing the same thing where he's getting ahead of his batters early and often.
You got to wonder if some of that has the effect of you don't want to run your bullpen dry for both games, playing the doubleheader today.
Smith with the ground ball to third base, and that's going to be the easy 5-3 Stewart to Westenfeld. And quick 2 outs right there by the Bobcats. Definitely not how you want to try and, once again, like we said, combat that 3-0 deficit. Brings up now redshirt junior Blake Reed, the DH for this game. He steps in now to face Mrakic, who has 3 Ks. All of them came in the top half of the first. Mrakic winds up and delivers, and he gets the strike call on the inside right there. He's doing a wonderful job of painting in those corners so far, Josh.
Yeah, I think both pitchers are doing a really good job of working both corners, the inside and the outside corner, with their fastball and their off-speed pitches.
Seems to go once again on the inside corner. This one just a little bit too high, 1-1 to Blake Reed. Mrakic is set, the windup, and the pitch is right down Main Street. 1-2 now to the Bobcat DH, Blake Reed.
We saw those first 2 pitches inside, then we see the fastball go outside. So that, as you can see, Mrakic wants to work inside out to the OU hitters.
Mrakic the windup and the pitch, and yes, sir, he got him looking. Mrakic's 4th strikeout of the game. 4 quick strikeouts, too, might I add. Blake Reed goes down. And we're going to go ahead and go to the bottom of 2 on Ohio Bobcat TV. Eight, 9-1 for the Chippewas due up now in this bottom half of the second. But before we go ahead and get into anything, we're going to bring in the third member of our team, Kylie Oshko. Kylie, what have you seen so far down there on the field?
So far down on the field, the dugout for Central Michigan has played a huge part in igniting the flame under the players on the field, just like the batters and everything. So have the Central Michigan parents. They traveled 6.5 hours to watch their athletes play, and they really did come here to put a vocal standpoint out at Bob Run today. But just bringing back some history, Ohio has historically struggled against Central Michigan as they trail in the all-time battle 11-31, as you said earlier, Gavin. And I know that Central Michigan is at the more towards the bottom of the MAC, but that really doesn't matter when it comes to facing the Bobcats, as the Bobcats fell to the Chippewas last time they faced off, losing 6-10 in Athens. And this is really just showing today. I know it's early in the game, but we can just see how that heads out for the rest of the innings.
We certainly have. Thank you so much, Kylie, for the word down there on the field. Again, we talked about how that long drive is right there. 6.5 hours for Central Michigan, but they have showed up, and they've showed up well. Again, like we just talked about, we see them here from the press box as Masters now 3-2 against Jake Brill. The windup and the pitch is got him looking. Brill thought he had the walk down to first base, and instead of walking down to first, he's walking back to the dugout.
What a pitch there from Masters. We talked about painting the corner with both pitchers. Masters couldn't have put that pitch anywhere better. That was perfection.
It really was, and that brings up the third baseman, Eli Stewart. He takes that first one for a ball. One of the few times Masters has not gotten ahead of his batters, now 2-0 against Eli Stewart. The senior third baseman batting .257 coming into this one, and that one is rocketed back behind the dish. 2-1 now. 2-1, 1 out, 3-0 still in favor of the Chippewas. And he puts a charge into that one. Is that one going to carry too? Back at the wall, at the track, and it is off the wall. Stewart's going to be on his high horse going into third base. He's going to be in there standing. It's a stand-up triple for Eli Stewart, and he is pumped.
That was a big hit for Central Michigan, and you could tell early on they are strong 1 through 9 throughout the lineup. It was big that Stewart got on, turned to the top of the order. Now he's standing on third base with only 1 out with a great chance to score.
Certainly is, Josh. That's the fourth base hit now for the Chippewas. It seemed that Paulie Mancino was going to try and make the play, but then you saw him back up, and at first I thought we were going to have our second home run of the contest. But that brings up Bryson Webb. He's 0 for 1 on the day, strikeout swinging in his first at-bat just an inning ago. Already the Chippewas have batted around. Wonderful pitch right there with the off-speed. Now 1-1 to Bryson Webb. Webb steps back in. Masters still working fast. 3 Ks on the day for him. The windup and the pitch, and that's going to be fielded cleanly over there by Nelson at first, or at shortstop, going over to first. But that is going to score Eli Stewart over from third base. Now a 4-0 lead for Central Michigan.
Yeah, Gavin, Bryce Webb just doing his job there. He knew anything on the ground would more than likely score Stewart, and he did just that right there.
So the 6-3 put out right there brings up Jacob Donahue. He was able to reach first last time based off a nice ground ball hit, and he does the same thing right there. A solid shot right back up the middle. Now 2 for 2 for Donahue today.
Yeah, he's now 7 for 12, or 7 hits in his last 12 at-bats, He has been on fire lately, and you can tell it's translating into this game early on.
It certainly is. Now that brings back up the senior, Danny Westenfeld. He was caught looking for strike 3 last time, 0 for 1 on the day, but like we just saw last inning, that it was Donahue at first. Once again, Masters throwing back over to him, and Westenfeld in the batter's box. You got to imagine that Masters wants the same thing as last time, where he was able to strike out Westenfeld looking. The windup and the pitch, and that's a wonderful piece of hitting right there from Westenfeld. Donahue was looking to try and go from first to third, but because that ball was hit so hard and into left field, wasn't able to do so. However, that's back-to-back hits now for Central Michigan. That brings now back up Spencer Verberg, who was able to reach via a base hit in his last at-bat. Trey Cassidy coming out from behind the plate and calling a play. You got to wonder now, 2 outs, what he might be calling here.
Well, there's a possibility for a bunt. We saw CMU try and bunt with 2 outs earlier. They're not afraid to play small ball, move guys over, and try some things out to get guys on base. So Trey Cassidy just playing it safe, making sure everybody knows the call in the infield, and that's very smart from Cassidy because you never know what Central Michigan is going to do right here.
It's very smart indeed, as that ball is popped up very, very high off the bat of Spencer Verberg. And it will be caught for the out by Ansel over there in center field to put an end to the second inning. We'll go ahead and take a small break. We'll be right back here on Ohio Bobcat TV. And welcome back to Bob Wren Stadium on a cool, but the sun's coming out now, Josh. The sun is coming out in Athens. 9-1-2 due up for the Bobcats. Going ahead and starting us off is the 9-hole hitter Nick Dolan, the third baseman. The redshirt junior batting .308 coming into this year, and the sun is now starting to shine on Bob Wren as Dolan swings and misses at the first pitch from Adam Rakic. Rakic with a pitch and fouled off right back to us again here in the booth. But once again, he's ahead of his batters 0-2. He's doing such a good job of doing that the entire game so far, Josh.
Yeah, Gavin, he's working quick, kind of like Masters, working a little bit slower, but you can see these two guys, there's 15, 14 seconds left in the pitch clock, and they're ready to go.
They certainly are. That one is taken high and outside by Nick Dolan. 1-2, now the count to the Bobcat third baseman. The windup and the pitch from Rakic is swung on on top, and that's going to be Stewart over to Westenfeld for the 5-3 put out. Brings back up Paulie Mancino. The freshman right fielder came into this game batting .298. He's 0 for 1 on the day, strikeout swinging in his first plate appearance.
Hey, Kevin, something that's interesting to see about this Ohio lineup, 3 freshmen as their first 5 hitters. These guys are making a huge impact on this team early and often.
The freshman from Westlake, Ohio, St. Ignatius graduate. Got to shout out Cleveland, of course, whenever I get the chance to. Mancino swings and pops that one up. It's high. It's carrying. Will it be caught? Yes, it will. Oh, and he goes into the wall very, very hard. I believe that was Eichler, the second baseman. He makes the play, but at what cost? My goodness, he went into that wall so heavily. We hope he's okay. My goodness. Wow. Everyone here at Bob Wren is looking on in worry. I believe that was Eichler who made the putout. A fantastic catch, but again, like we said, at what cost to himself right there, Josh? I mean, gosh, I'm not sure if we've seen him move since he made that play down there.
It's really scary, Gavin. Really scary right now.
There's a silence over Bob Wren that usually you never hear unless no one is here. Medical trainers down there with, again, we believe that is Eichler. Tending to him, and he is moving. He is up now officially. Still looks very, very banged up, and rightfully so. And that is indeed Jack Eichler, who did make the play. The graduate second baseman, he ran very, very far to make that play, and once again, it was a fantastic play nonetheless by the second baseman, who you don't usually would have assumed that he would be out there to make the catch. Usually you would think it would be the right fielder, Donahue. And he is up and moving. Jack Eichler is. That's great news for the Chippewas. Great to see that he is okay. Just throwing the ball around, just trying to see if he is good to go.
Yeah, Kevin, we hear the Central Michigan fans. I think they're chanting Donnie for him. That's awesome.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
See, it's great to see the support that the Chippewas have. Again, like we said, there's quite a few Central Michigan fans actually here in attendance that made that long drive to Athens from Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, and they're going to have to go home in some snow, I believe, Gavin.
I do believe so, which again is why that we are having a doubleheader here today and having the series here, actually, I should say. It's 2 games today, 1 tomorrow. Daniel Barnard will be on the call for you guys in the second game coming up right after this one. Chippewas starting out most of them coming back to their positions as we see Mrakic come back to the mound, as well as his catching counterpart, Dardis.
It's good to see Eichler up and moving.
It is. It's very good to see that.
It was scary there for a second. It didn't look great at all, but good to see him up and moving, and hopefully he's okay.
Yes, we send our best wishes to Jack Eichler. As it looks like he's coming out of the game, and I believe that's number, looks like 16 from here. It is number 16 indeed, Elijah Henning, the junior from Scottsdale, Arizona, coming in now to replace Jack Eichler. Again, we hope he is okay. You can see him kind of holding his ribs, or maybe just the middle part of his body, as again he went into that wall at full speed. But I mean, what a play from him, though.
Wow.
Wow. Just what else can you say? It's wow.
He was tracking it from behind. He got a better jump on it than the first baseman, Danny Westenfeld. And it looked like he even got a better jump on it than Donahue, who you think that would have been his ball there coming in from right. But instead, it looked like Eichler had a great jump on it from the beginning, and then everything happened so quickly that he couldn't tell that the wall was there.
No, saying that is one of the things here at Bob Brennan is that as you get farther out into the outfield, that the walls and the space from the foul line to the walls becomes even more slim. And I mean, that ball was hit to where the dirt is there in the outfield, so that's right along the wall. Again, best wishes to him. But, I mean, still, regardless, one heck of a play right there.
It was a good sign for him. It looked like he didn't want to come out of that
game.
It
definitely seemed
he wanted to stay in the game. But hopefully everything's okay, and hopefully quick recovery.
Once again, Jack Eichler, the best wishes for him. And Elijah Henning is replacing him over there at second base now. But we are back now, ready to resume. Strike called right there on J.R. Nelson.
Again, yeah, we talked about him in the intro, but just to show you how good he and Antle have been this year, they are first and ninth in the MAC in batting average, and these two have been the catalyst so far in the OU lineup without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show you, too, and how young these players are, how well that they're doing. As the 1-1 is taken high by J.R. Nelson. 2-1 now the count on the Bobcats shortstop of the day. The windup and the pitch from Rakic is taken low and inside by Nelson. 3-1. You definitely love to try and get something going. There are 2 outs, but you love to see someone get on base if you're the Bobcats.
Yeah, Nelson stole 2 bases his first appearance, too. So, again, he's dangerous on the base path. You have to be careful with him on first at all times. So, even if he gets on, maybe make something happen out of it.
And that one is popped up way behind us, and that one's now going to make it 3-2 to the Bobcat shortstop, J.R. Nelson. Trying to work against Mrakic. Mrakic now with 4 strikeouts, looking to make it a 5th against J.R. Nelson. Mrakic, the windup, and the pitch. He's grounded over to Henning, now freshly into the game. Henning over to Westenfeld, and he makes the play. Simple little 4-3 to end the inning. Central Michigan has a 4-0 lead. We'll go ahead and take a short break. We'll be right back on Ohio Bobcat TV. The sun's back out, and so are we on Ohio Bobcat TV. 5, 6, 7 due up in the bottom half of the 3rd inning for Central Michigan. I think we have a little shoe tying going on over there by J.R. Nelson as to why we haven't gotten going just yet, but...
Yeah, Gavin, and of course, Mikey Murphy, we know what he did his first step back.
We certainly do.
Really got things going for Central Michigan. You have to be very careful with him up again because, again, we've seen what he can do now. You have to pitch carefully to him.
You do. You certainly do. And you look around Bob Wren, the flags are going absolutely crazy. And it's almost interesting because, yes, there is wind, but almost all day they've been flying in the same direction, which is back in. So I think that also just goes to show the power that Mikey Murphy has to get the ball out of here.
You would also think, too, in the colder weather, the ball's going to carry less as well and not travel as far. So that was an awesome piece of hitting. Opposite field as well.
Absolutely,
Man,
yeah.
He got his barrel on that ball.
He certainly did, and he does it once again right here. Is that going to get down for a base hit? You bet it does. Mikey Murphy, 2 for 2 on the day. That's a single into left field. Nothing that A.J. Roush could have done. That ball was put perfectly into the outfield. Brings up now for the first time in this one, Elijah Henning, who is the substitution for Jack Eichler, who once again, if you guys couldn't join us the last half inning, he was a bit shaken up after making a fantastic running play and running into the wall. So that brings in Henning for his first at-bat. He bunts it down, but it pops up way too much, and that's Dolan over that third base to rush in and make the play.
Yeah, good breed there from Ohio. We've seen Central Michigan flash bunts, but pull back. That time they actually commit to the bunt. They try and get Murphy to second. He just got under that one a little bit. You could tell he angled his bat down, which caused the ball to pop up.
Certainly then that brings up Nick Dardis, the senior catcher for the Chippewas. He walked in his first plate appearance. Good little move over there from Masters. It seemed that Murphy wasn't expecting him to throw over.
Yeah, well, we saw Masters. He had an absolute nasty pickoff move to end the second inning as well. And you could tell he has a couple tricks up his sleeve ready for this Central Michigan team, although they've done a good job so far getting from first to second and then second on from there.
They certainly haven't. I think that's the story of any baseball game is if you can get those guys into scoring position and cash them in, that's how you're going to obviously win those ball games. The windup and the pitch from Masters, a beautiful little off speed right there. Wonder if that was his slider, or maybe it was that changeup that we've seen him throw a couple times.
It looked like that worked in a little bit, so it could have been his slider.
Yeah. Regardless, 0-1, and once again a little check over there on Mikey Murphy on first base. 2 for 2 for Murphy, might I add as well. Henning in his first plate appearance. That one dipped out a little bit too early from Masters to Dardis. Now 1-1, 1 out, and 1 guy on. There's ones everywhere in this at-bat right now.
Triple ones.
Triple ones. Once again, a pickoff move, and is that the 4th time or the 5th time that he's gone over to first base there?
Yeah, he's definitely being really careful of Murphy over there, on first base. Again, you don't want to put guys into scoring position early for Central Michigan.
And off goes the runner, and that's a wild throw from Cassidy behind the plate. Murphy's going to go from first to second and then second to third on the passed ball. And once again, OU's kind of just shooting themselves in the foot right now.
Yeah, we've seen Cassidy struggle. We saw on that first stolen base attempt that Central Michigan had that he struggled getting the transfer in. That throw just ran a little bit low on him. If it was closer to the bag, it would have been perfect, the one hop. However, it just ran a little low on him and a little short-sided, and it looked like Nelson couldn't get to that one.
And that one did indeed get Nick Dardis as he sprints down to first base. I believe, I think it was a hit by a pitch is what the home plate umpire called.
Well, he squared around a bunt,
right,
so you
couldn't
couldn't tell
correct.
if he pulled back or if that would still be considered a strike because his barrel was still out over the plate. So clearly he got his bat back in enough time to get that hit by pitch.
The hit by pitch from Nick Dardis, and Central Michigan meeting over there, all the runners in the batter meeting to probably call up something. There is only 1 out and a guy on first and third in the form of Mikey Murphy at third and Nick Dardis now at first base via that hit by pitch. You got to wonder, Josh, what they might be trying to cook up over there.
Well, like we said earlier, Gavin, that first and third scenario is interesting. We saw it with 2 outs earlier, which you could be a little bit less aggressive if you want to trust your batter in that scenario. However, here, you're probably going to see Dardis try and take second base because you want to get him either A, on second, or B, score that run from home. So if he does go, it'll be interesting to see what Cassidy does.
Masters keeping an eye on Dardis over at first base. Once again, Nick Dardis on first, Mikey Murphy at third, 1 out. No count to Jake Brill, who was caught looking in his first at-bat. What a beautiful bunt from Brill. He's going to get to first base safely.
Nobody's on third.
And no one's on third. Nick Dardis is going to get in there. Is he out? Yes, he is. Nick Dardis trying to get from second to third, but a wonderful job by the Bobcats to really come back and make sure someone was on third. But regardless of that crazy play that just happened, the Chippewas score another run. Mikey Murphy comes across to score on a beautiful bunt from Jake Brill.
That was a perfect bunt. The first baseman was playing back. We've seen Central Michigan try and get a bunt down that first base side. They did it perfectly right there. Perfectly executed. Masters couldn't get to it. The first baseman couldn't get to it. And that's how they scored their run right there.
Once again, we talk about that run that now is 5-0 in favor of the Chips. Masters, once again, looking over at Jake Brill, and probably for good reason. He has 6 stolen bases on the year. I still can't get over what a fantastic bunt Brill just laid down.
That was perfect. That was a perfect bunt. Couldn't place that any better.
That pitch now in there from Masters for the strike. 0-1 is the count on Eli Stewart, who reached on base via a hit to right field. Actually, he had that triple off the wall that we thought was going to get out of here in the bottom half of the last inning. Jake Brill on first. Stewart in the box, and he takes that one now 1-1 to Eli Stewart.
You have to almost wonder if Masters is paying a little bit more attention on first because Cassidy has struggled to throw guys out so far. You have to wonder if Masters is trying to just do his part over there to not allow Central Michigan to get a good jump on first.
And a wonderful little line drive off the bat of Eli Stewart, but caught by Nelson over at short, and that's going to put an end to this, the bottom half of the third inning. We'll go ahead and be back for the top of 4 on Ohio Bobcat TV. Three, 4, 5. Top half of the fourth inning is due up for the Ohio Bobcats. Led off by Gideon Ansel, the senior center fielder. Probably the guy in this part of the lineup that you want up, Josh, to try and get back into this ballgame.
Yeah, Gavin, leading the MAC in home runs, batting average right now, and hits as well. He was tied for first in hits, and he's probably one of the best hitters in all of the conference right now with his red-hot start.
He most definitely is. We talk about them. Coming into this game, Ansel was .434 on average through 17 games, 7 home runs, 24 RBIs, and only 7 strikeouts.
Yeah, he's a machine.
The 1-1 is ripped, and is that fair? No, it's not. Wow, that was very close. I'll be honest, from here, that looked fair.
That had extra bases written all over it, too. He got the barrel on that line drive, and he was just a couple inches away from maybe even standing on third base right now.
I was going to say, because that one was going to be well into left field. And Ansel was sprinting out the box. He was ready to go. Like you just said, that could have been 3 bags for sure.
Again, we talked about working ahead in counts. Now Mrakvich is up 1-2 on Antle. And we saw Antle work a little bit from behind his first at-bat, and that's why he struck out. So you got to see again here if Antle just needs to protect the plate and try and put something in play here just so he doesn't get that K again.
Mrakic has 4 of those Ks to his name so far throughout this game. Mrakic on the mound. Looks in. The windup and the pitch from Mrakic is swung on by Antle. Popped up very, very high in the air. And that's going to be caught over there by Donahue in right field. Pop out to the 9 spot. That brings up the 5th-year second baseman, Alex Finney, who walked and only got to stay at first base. He was not able to advance in the first inning. So 0 for 0 on his line with that base on balls. Mrakic looks in right down the pipe. Is strike 1. Once again, he's getting ahead of every single batter, it seems, Josh.
Yeah, Gavin, working early and often. And you got to see here if he wants to set up that off speed here with Finney.
Finney swings at the 0-1 pitch and fouls it off now 0-2. They count to the Bobcats' second baseman.
It looked like he's trying to set that fastball away for Finney, and then he came inside with the slider, threw off his timing a little bit. You got to wonder now, he has Finney on his toes right now.
Did he get him on the outside? No, he did not. Just a little bit too off the plate right there from Adam Mrakic. But once again, even when he's missing, he's not missing by much.
No, not at all. He almost painted that corner right there.
Mrakic to wind up and the pitch. And now that one we kind of gave the little commentator's curse right there. That one was not very close. That was a bit in the dirt right there. But one of the very few misses, if any, that we've seen Mrakic have so far in this game. Mrakic looking in. Swing on and a foul tip from Alex Finney. Doing a very good job of staying alive in the count. Now 2-2 has been able to work it to try and get a pitch he likes to try and get on base somehow. To, again, just get the Bobcats into this game. Mrakic now with the windup and the pitch, and that one is stung out into in the center field, excuse me. And a wonderful play. No, I believe that Brill caught the ball and it popped out of his glove.
I just don't think Brill could have. I think Brill might have lost that ball. He could not get a read on that. It looks like he took a couple steps and then he sat under it, thought it was carrying a little bit more than it was, and dropped right in front of him. So, again, a little bit of luck for OU. We'll see if they can scratch their first run of the day across now.
Regardless, it is a double at the bat of Alex Finney. That brings up the freshman catcher, Trey Cassidy. He was struck out looking in his last at-bat. And to go back to that play, Josh, like you said, I think he did lose it because it seemed that he was camped under it for a routine catch, and then he was like, oh, no, that ball's going to die before I can get to it.
Yeah, he didn't fully commit to where that ball was, and you could tell he kind of just sat, and then before he could realize it, he had to make a diving attempt for that one.
Cassidy takes that one on the outside corner. Now 1-1 to the Bobcat catcher.
2 straightaway fastballs to Cassidy. You wonder if Mrakic has him right where he wants him right now, even though that fastball missed.
There's that wonderful slider that Mrakic has. And again, to a lefty, there's nothing much you can do about that as it breaks away from you.
It's so hard to look at 2 fastballs. Think he's throwing another fastball, and he's throwing everything from the same arm slot. He's not changing his arm angle or how fast his windup is based on his off-speed pitches. So it's hard to tell out of the hand whether he's going to use that fastball or he's going to try and wipe out with the away slider.
And we just saw that slider once again on that 1-2. Little bit outside. 2-2 now. Mrakic deals just a little bit low from Adam Mrakic to Trey Cassidy as he works his count now back to full. 3-2, 1 out.
This is a really tough spot for Trey Cassidy. This lefty-on-lefty matchup has not been favorable for him so far today.
Certainly has not, but he gets rung out looking. His second strikeout looking as well for Trey Cassidy on the day. That one, you could tell he did not like that call. But regardless, that's 5 Ks now for Adam Mrakic.
All of those pitches in that at-bat, outer part of the plate. Cassidy has not sat well on that outer part of the plate so far today, and that's something to keep an eye on if Mrakic is still pitching his next time around.
Mrakic looking once again at Alex Finney over the second base. He's getting a good jump, but That brings up left fielder junior A.J. Roush, who was retired via a 1-3 putout in his last at-bat, and he falls behind this one 0-1 to
Rakic
A.J.
only
Roush.
has 1 walk today so far,
Yep.
so 2 hits for OU. They've only seen 3 base runners. It's been tough sledding for this Ohio offense against Adam Rakic.
It certainly has, and that one looked good from here, but a little bit low to A.J. Roush. 1-1 now the count to the Bobcat left fielder. Once again, the Bobcats have a man in scoring position, but look at the try and change fortune. The last couple times they haven't been able to get someone in, as that donut is still on the scoreboard. 5-0 in favor of the Chips. The windup and the pitch, Roush puts a good chunk into that one, but it's fouled off. Now 2-2, 2 outs, and a man on second. Once again, Josh, it's at triple twos. 2-2-2. Roush is ready, so is Mrakic. Mrakic to wind up and the pitch, and that's a stinger off the bat of A.J. Roush, but it will go foul. Just a little bit late on that one, but he put a very good swing onto that one.
Yeah, OU's had 2 tough line drive foul balls. You could tell that one and the one earlier with Antle, they were both had extra base hits written all over them, and they just couldn't get down in fair territory.
That off speed a little bit too high from Rakic, as Roush has done a great job of battling in this one. Now it's 3-2. Rakic steps back onto the rubber. He's ready. The pitch from Rakic is driven right back up to Henning at second base. Henning over to Westenfeld, and that's going to put an inning 4-3 put out for the Bobcats. Central Michigan comes back up in the bottom half of the 4th inning. We'll be right back on Ohio Bobcat TV. Welcome back to Athens, Ohio, where the Central Michigan Chippewas hold a 5-0 lead over the Ohio Bobcats. We're going to go ahead to the bottom of the 4th, but before we do that, we welcome back in Kylie Osco. Kylie, do we have any updates on Jack Eichler?
Yes, so he did unfortunately suffer an injury, and originally he was going to get back up, and coaches had to talk to him, and after some careful evaluation, coaches decided to pull him out of the game, and to prevent further injury, they pulled him out of the game for sure. The injury has not been said, but we're just hoping for his return in future games to come, so he won't have a season-ending injury.
We certainly are, as Masters goes 1-2-3 and puts out Bryson Webb. That's Masters' 4th strikeout of the game. Brings back up Jacob Donahue, who was 2 for 2 on the day. Josh, like we said before, all broadcasts, he's been red hot lately.
Yeah, 7 for his last 12 at-bats, Gavin. I mean, he's been a really tough out for his last 3 opponents in Oakland, Miami, and Ohio. And you got to wonder here, if just giving him first base, maybe not giving him anything great, you have to maybe accept a walk here because he can go deep as well.
He absolutely can. The 1-1 is in there from Masters. 1-2 now on what could be a huge out in the form of Jacob Donahue. Masters wind up and the pitch, and that's what he does. Jacob Donahue, just like his first at-bat, he's down in the count, but he's certainly not out, as he is now 3 for 3. He continues to be red hot, Josh.
Yeah, Gavin, he entered the day 13th in the MAC in batting average, and it's safe to say he's probably going to get into the top 10 after this game.
Most certainly. I mean, he came in 347. I'd say that's going to go up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's going to go up a lot.
Donahue on first base brings up Danny Westenfeld, and he put a charge into that one at the track, at the wall, and it's off the wall. Donahue was not running. I think he thought that that one was going to be out. He probably could have scored on that one, but again, he was not running at full speed. But nonetheless, it's Danny Westenfeld, a double. Now 1 out and 2 guys in scoring position for the Chips.
Yeah, Gavin, we've seen Donahue and Westenfeld combined today. They are now 5 for 6. Spencer Verberg behind them as well has a single on the day. That 2-3-4 part of the order for Central Michigan has been trouble for OU, and you have to wonder here, do you maybe give Verberg a free pass, but then Mikey Murphy's right behind him to try and set up the double play? So again, it's interesting right now.
And the foul tip, a little bit of a piece of it off the bat of Spencer Verberg, the DH redshirt sophomore for the Chippewas. You got to wonder, too, if Masters allows some more runs, is that bullpen going to get up and going? You got to wonder. Masters looks back at second and delivers the 0-1 well outside to make it 1-1.
Really good sliding play there from Trey Cassidy. It looked like that fastball just got away from Masters just a little bit. However, Cassidy had to backhand and dive to his right to save that one. That saved a run.
It certainly did. And once again, we have talked about before this backstop here at Bob Wren. If that gets past Cassidy, that's most certainly a run. And then there's also someone else that moves up into a more dangerous scoring position. The 2-1 is taken on the outside. 3-1 in favor now of Spencer Verberg, who is 1 for 2 on his night. Popped out to center field in his last at-bat. And did he go on that one? No, he did not. Ball 4 issued. Josh, you talked about that walk. We talked about it as an intentional walk, but that one was just a straight-up walk.
And now, Gavin, as white as Donahue has been today, Mikey Murphy now comes up, who has a home run and a single on the day. This guy has been automatic, and here we go see Ohio going to talk to Masters.
Yep, and he's going to go ahead and bring out Coach pointed down to the bullpen, or at least he signaled that he did. Put his left arm out, and that will indeed spell the end of the day for Dylan Masters. He finishes the day with 4 strikeouts. He began very, very well in this one. But we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we do, we'll talk about the new Bobcats pitcher on Ohio Bobcat TV. The pitching change for the Bobcats sees senior Luke Olson, the 6'2" right-handed pitcher out of Granville, Illinois, come into this one. 0-2 record, 11.77 ERA, 13 innings pitched, 15 strikeouts, and 8 walks issued in 6 appearances. As he starts out with a strike and a foul tip off the bat of Mikey Murphy. Like we said before the break, Josh, he's a guy who's been red hot, especially in this one.
Yeah, Gavin, 2 for 2, home run, single. Now bases loaded, 1 out. He has a chance to really extend the Central Michigan lead right now.
Swing and a miss from Murphy as Olson blows the fastball right by him. That's something I noticed in that short little warm-up. Olson seems to have that super high velocity fastball. Olson now fouled off the bat of Mikey Murphy.
Yeah, Gavin, you talked about Olson's fastball a little bit there. He also is going to mix in a curveball and a changeup right now. You wonder if now up 0-2, if we're going to see one of those 2 pitches in the next couple.
We certainly could here. 0-2, Olson. And he hits him. Hits him, looks like it was in the ribs right there. But regardless, that's another run right there for the Chippewas. 6-0 now. And you gotta say that you gotta be frustrated if you're Luke Olson. You come out of the bullpen, you get ahead 0-2, and then you just hit the guy.
He inherited a really tough situation. Bases loaded, 1 out. So again, you have to work out of this jam now if you're Olson, but you can't let that phase you from here on out.
You certainly cannot, as that one is fouled off the bat of Elijah Henning. In his last plate appearance, he popped out, no, I believe he tried to lay down that bunt to third base.
Yes.
Which was just popped up. Speaking of pop-ups, it's a very high pop-up off the bat of Henning. And is it going to stay in bounds or in play? No, it does not. It's going to go out of play into the grassy hills here at Bob Wren.
Again, Olson up 0-2. Can't fall behind here again. Can't hit the batter like that again.
Certainly,
can't
yeah.
give up a free run. So again, you wonder if maybe we're thinking change up away or curveball away, or if he wants to go stay inside with the fastball.
We'll see what he does here. Olson looks in, the windup and the pitch, and he strikes him out with that fastball, Josh, that we just talked about. Henning goes down. That's the first strikeout for Luke Olson on the day. 2 outs now. Brings up Nick Dardis, who both times he's still 0-0. His first at-bat was a typical walk. Then he was hit by that pitch on that square-around bunt that we saw in his last plate appearance. Regardless, the senior catcher looking to try and deal some more damage. Olson finds the inside corner. Strike 1 called.
Yeah, Gavin, if Olson gets out of this only allowing 1 run, this has to be considered a victory for him. You know, he inherited a really tough situation and is trying to make the best out of it right now. So, again, only allowing 1 run would be huge and still keeps Ohio within reach.
It would be absolutely huge. Because, again, you don't want to be down even more than you already are. Down 6-0. Olson with the pitch and the swing and the foul tip off the bat of Dardis. Sees the count now go to 1-2, 2 outs. But the danger is everywhere. The closest batter is 90 feet away in the form of Danny Westenfeld. He had that RBI. No, actually, no, he could have had an RBI double. Wow, that pitch got away from Luke Olson right there. He tried to wind up and really throw that one, try to get it past Nick Dardis, and that could have costed them a run or 2.
Great job by Trey Cassidy. Again, he got up there for that ball. And again, with the big backstop of Bob Wren, probably saved a run.
Absolutely, it did. And look at that pitch. That pitch had some curve to it, but remains high. Now full count. 2 outs. Runners will be going on anything right here. Olson against Dardis. Luke Olson looks in. The runners are off, and it's a swing and a high pop up into center field, where, yes, indeed, Antle is there to make the play. Pop out to center field will spell the end of the 4th. Chippewas add 1 more. Ohio comes back up to plate. Top of 5 coming right back up on Ohio Bobcat TV. Welcome back to Bob. We're at the top of the 5th inning, led off by Bryce Smith, the graduate student first baseman for today's game. He falls behind 0-1 early to Adam Rakic, who up to this point, Josh, has been arguably perfect.
Yeah, working quick and efficient. Again, we've seen him work ahead in counts, and he's done a really good job when he is ahead.
And that one's put a deep drive into right field, but a little bit before the warning track off the bat of Bryce Smith. Donahue makes the catch out in right field. Still a good job, though, of Bryce Smith of putting bat on ball.
Yeah, he didn't get all of his barrel on that, but he got a good piece of it. Didn't get it all to get it over the fence, though, and it just hung up there for an easy put out from Donahue.
Certainly did, and that brings up the redshirt junior DH of this game, Blake Reed. He went down looking on his last plate appearance, and this one popped up. Is it going to stay in play? It will not, as that ball bounces on the concourse here at Bob Wren. Reed, 2 games on the year. 3 at-bats, 1 K is his stat line so far of the year. 0-1 and 1 out in top half of the 5th inning. Rakic. Oh, nope, time called. I believe that Dardis lost his mask there for a second. Rakic looks into Dardis. Rakic, ball 1 of the count. 1-1 on the outside corner right there. You got to wonder, too, Josh, when the Bobcats want to try and look to get going. Because you're beginning to almost run at a time. We're already into top of 5.
Yeah, Gavin, they got to just string together a couple hits. You know, they have time, but it's not a lot right now. And if you keep putting zeros on the board each individual inning, it's not going to look well in the end. So, again, you just have to scratch one across and then just keep battling at Rakic, who's pitched very well so far. They haven't gotten a good read on him, and it's shown so far.
Certainly has that. 2-1 swung on and missed by Blake Reed. The 2-2 from Rakic. Did he go? Yes, he did. Strike 3 on Blake Reed, his second strikeout of the game, but Rakic now has 6 Ks. So that brings up Nick Dolan, who went into a 5-3 ground out his last at-bat. Once again, not many guys in the hit column. Bobcats have 2 hits compared to the Chippewas' 10.
The Chippewas haven't given them any free passes either, as we mentioned earlier. Still only 1 walk from Rakic.
Rakic once again gets in front of his batter 0-1, and I mean, I don't know why you don't let the trigger loose on that one. That was a middle of the plate fastball, and that was a beautiful slider right there. Starts outside to the right-handed batter, cuts back in very fastly. Nick Dolan's down 0-2 to Adam Rakic.
He could tell he took a little speed off that one, too.
Yeah.
Got more lateral movement on it.
Rakic, the 0-2, swung on and missed by Nick Dolan. 7 strikeouts now on the day for Adam Rakic. He's having a fantastic day. We will come back for the bottom half of the 5th inning on Ohio Bobcat TV. 8-9-1 for Central Michigan, due up in this bottom half of the 5th inning. Luke Olson starts off with a strike right there to Jake Brill. The Chippewas center fielder puts a charge into that one, and that's going to get down for his second base hit of the game. Jake Brill now 2 for 3. Leads off the bottom half of the 5th inning just how they want to, Josh.
Yeah, Gavin, we saw Luke Olson struggle against Oakland last week. He pitched 4 innings, gave up 5 earned runs, faced 17 batters, and threw 61 pitches. So this is a rather quick turnaround for Olson, throwing 61 pitches on Wednesday and now coming back again on Saturday.
A foul tip off the bat of Eli Stewart, as Brill was looking to make it that 7 stolen bases on the year. He's currently at 6, trying to add 1 more. He got a very good jump right there. And the way that Cassidy has been not able to get guys out stealing, why not go ahead and try and take that jump again? This one is hit right there to Finney. Tags the guy at second, and he gets the double play himself. Great job of Finney right there to make sure that he didn't try to force anything not to happen.
Yeah, good play there from Finney. He knew he was going that way to first base. So again, hit the tag on his way and then had enough momentum to get the ball over to the first in time.
That brings up redshirt freshman Bryson Webb, who fouls that one off. Webb 0 for 3. Not something that we've seen accustomed to with most of the Central Michigan team at least having 1 hit on the day so far. Bryson Webb, one of the ones that does not have one. Beautiful pitch right there from Luke Olson as he jumps ahead of Webb 0-2.
Olson's starting to get in his groove. You could tell he was a little bit rattled that first inning, came into a tough situation. Now he's found it and doing a good job of throwing strikes.
Yeah, this is where he can really start to settle into his game now. 1-2. Olson gets the sign from Cassidy. And a little bit outside to Bryson Webb. Webb, like we mentioned, 0-3 so far. The windup and the pitch from Luke Olson. He got him on the inside corner. Webb did not like that one, but he goes down looking. That's Webb's 3rd strikeout on his night. But Luke Olson gets his 2nd. The Bobcats come back up, top of 6 on Ohio Bobcat TV. And we are back here on the banks of the Hawking River, Bob Wren Stadium overlooking West Green of Athens, Ohio. As we have top of the order, Paulie Mancino, J.R. Nelson, and Gideon Ansel leading it off.
Yeah, Mancino
in the top half of 6.
0 for 2 on the day so far. Trying to get something started here for OU. And again, like we said earlier, it has to come 1 run at a time. You're not going to get them all back in one swing, more than likely. So again, you just keep chipping away at this lead, make Mrakic work more, try and get to that CMU bullpen and see where it takes you from there.
And again, it doesn't even have to be base hits. It can be walks, it can be hit by pitches. Mancino gets that one on the ground, but it's a typical 5-3 play. Stewart over to Westenfeld. And Paulie Mancino's still hitless, but that does bring up one of the guys that does have a base hit in this ball game, freshman J.R. Nelson, the Bobcats shortstop. He had that base hit in the top half of the first inning. Then he had a 4-3 ground out.
Yeah, he's done a good job of getting a read on Mrakic, though, so far. He's hit the ball hard in both of his at-bats, one of them resulting in a base hit. However, you could tell he's been on Mrakic.
He certainly has, and Mrakic gets ahead of Nelson in this one, something that we've seen him do all day long. That's a foul tip off the end of the bat of J.R. Nelson. Now, I believe that first one was actually called a ball. Yes.
Something that we've seen with Mrakic is that slider. However, what I think distincts it is that horizontal movement. So you get a little bit of the vertical movement, and then you get that horizontal movement, which has really been tough to pick up on.
That's a very, very high pop fly off the bat of J.R. Nelson as Murphy calls off Webb and Stewart to make the catch. Fly out to left field, but that brings up the arguably the most dangerous guy in this Bobcats lineup, Gideon Ansel, the center fielder. They need something to get going. This is the guy who you want to try and get that going with.
Yeah, really fell behind in counts his first two at-bats. He had that really hard-hit line drive that just didn't stay fair.
And there's a nice line drive, but it's going to go right to Brill in center field, and he got a good piece of wood onto that one, but not enough. The Bobcats go 1-3. The Chippewas come back up for the bottom half of the sixth inning, only on Ohio Bobcat TV. Jacob Donahue leading off the bottom half of the sixth inning for the Chippewas. 2-3-4 is how Central Michigan is looking to start off this bottom half of six with a 6-0 lead, 11 hits compared to Ohio's 2, Josh. That's been the entire story of this game so far.
Yeah, Ohio's been given a couple free passes as well. Central Michigan's done a great job of moving base runners, bunts, stolen bases. They've played small ball really well today. And again, 2, 3, 4, and 5, Donahue, Westenfeld, Verberg, and Murphy have done a great job of cashing guys in.
Donahue retired for the first out and the first time today that he is retired. That's the third strikeout for Luke Olson. That brings up Danny Westenfeld, who last time almost went deep. He had a double off the wall in left center field. He put a charge into that one last time up. Luke Olson, the windup and the delivery, is just a little bit outside. That slider was not able to break enough, or it did break. Actually, it broke too much. Fastball taken on the outside of the corner. Very fast 2-0 to Danny Westenfeld.
Yeah, you could tell. Trying to work outside to Westenfeld. First 2 pitches on the outer part of the plate. Don't want to leave anything that he could get the barrel on.
Olsen comes back with a nice fastball on the inner side of the plate. 2-1, 1 out, 6-0 in favor of the Chips. And that off speed didn't even look like an off speed, looked maybe more like a cutter or a two-seam right there, but it just left it too high.
Yeah, really good snap on that pitch. The horizontal movement worked really well, although he couldn't find the zone with it.
He finds the zone with that one, however, and now it's a full count to Danny Westenfeld. Luke Olsen looking to try and make it 4 Ks on the day. Luke Olsen fouled way out of here off the bat of Danny Westenfeld. Just a little bit out there. Luke Olsen, like we mentioned, trying to get that 4th K of the day since he came into the game. He's done a pretty good job of limiting those big at-bats we saw earlier. But that one gets past Trey Cassidy behind the plate. Thankfully, no one was on base, but there is going to be a walk issued by Luke Olsen to Danny Westenfeld. That brings up the redshirt sophomore DH of the game, Spencer Verberg. He reached on a walk in his last at-bat. Definitely don't want to try and give away too many free passes, especially at this time in the game now, Josh.
Yeah, Gavin, getting free guys on base for Central Michigan has been key. They've still, again, we've talked about it all day. Stolen bases and bunts have been the theme for Central Michigan. They do a great job of getting guys in scoring position and then using their big hitters to bring them in. So, again, free passes has really hurt OU today.
Certainly has, and that is one of the main contributors to the 6-0 lead that the Chippewas have. Westenfeld on first. Luke Olsen looks over to Westenfeld. Never know when a guy might be trying to take off on you, so always a good idea to try and keep a look on him. Olsen with the pitch in there, swing and a miss. Spencer Verberg. Count now is 1-2, 1 out, 1 guy on to Spencer Verberg. Luke Olsen now gets his sign from Cassidy. Looks back over once again at Westenfeld, just trying to keep an eye on him. And again, like we said, you never know when he might take off and try and get into scoring position. And like Josh said a couple minutes ago, that's been their bread and butter, getting those guys into scoring position. And strike 3, swing and a miss. Spencer Verberg goes down. 2 Ks in this inning. That's Luke Olsen now with 4 total. However, that does bring up the ever so dangerous presence of Mikey Murphy, who we saw earlier hit that absolute bomb of a home run into right center field. Then he reached via a single in his at-bat after that, and then was hit by a pitch. Luke Olsen starts off this one well with a strike, and time was called by Trey Cassidy behind the plate.
It looked like Cassidy and Olsen had a signal difference there. It looked like Cassidy called something because you could immediately tell he popped up as soon as that pitch was thrown for a strike instead of trying to frame it to make sure it looked good. He popped right back up and went to talk to his pitcher. So it looked like those two have figured their situation out.
Westenfeld on first. Mikey Murphy in the box. Luke Olsen trying to work his way out of this slight jam. Chippewas up by 6. Still that big donut on the score column for the Bobcats. Definitely wanted to try and get going, as you're going to have top of 7 after this one. Josh Tyne, like we said before, a couple innings ago, was beginning to run dry, but now you're certainly looking at it now. And a shot into left field. Good thing that one went foul, because if not, that could have spelled trouble off the bat of Mikey Murphy. Once again, he's getting good wood on these balls.
Yeah, Gavin, it looked like Murphy was just a little bit out in front of an off-speed pitch there, so he got his barrel on the ball just a little bit too early there on the 0-2 count. But again, you got to wonder here if you're Olsen. Don't give him anything good 0-2.
He certainly does not, as he throws maybe your typical chase pitch on an 0-2, high fastball. Some guys think that's such an enticing pitch, and it is, because if you can get your barrel around to it, that ball's not going to come down for quite some time. But Luke Olsen now 1-2 Once again, checks on Westenfeld over there at first base. Nothing doing, though. 1-2 to the ever-dangerous Mikey Murphy. He's already gone deep so far, 2 for 3 in this game. And he gets them. Once again, another strikeout. Luke Olson using that fastball. That's his 5th of the game. End of 6-0 in favor of the Chippewas. Top of 7, 3 innings left for the Bobcats. We'll be right back on Ohio Bobcat TV. Alex Finney leads off the top half of the 7th inning for the Bobcats. 0-1 the count. Rakitic still in there. 4-5-6 for the Bobcats is what they're looking at. Now 0-2 once again. Rakitic just getting in front of every single batter very fast.
Well, something interesting, too, Gavin, is OU has not done a really good job of jumping on that first pitch fastball. You know, that's something you don't really want to work later in the counts and see the curveballs and his slider that's been ever so dangerous today. You want to really get on that first good pitch you see. And even in this at-bat here with Finney, he looked at 2 pretty good fastballs that were over the middle part of the plate.
They certainly were. And like you said, Josh, that's been the tail of the tape for the Bobcats so far, is not letting the trigger release, I guess you should say. Not pulling the trigger is a better phrase of that. 2-2 now to Alex Finney, who reached on a walk his first at-bat and then on a base hit double in his second one. He has now worked the count back into his favor. Good eye right there on that one, as that was a typical pitcher's pitch. The windup and the pitch from Rakitic, and that is indeed ball 4. That might just be what the Bobcats need to try and get back into this one. Just one base runner is all it takes.
Yeah, Alex Finney really been a big, consistent part of the OU lineup today. 1 for 1, a double, and 2 walks. So he's done a good job himself of getting on base. And you have to wonder here, too, if you're Ohio, do you try and force the issue right now and try and get guys in scoring position?
That brings up the lefty freshman catcher, Trey Cassidy. 2 strikeouts looking for the freshman in this one, but he gets ahead of Rakitic early in the count. And again, no outs. Down by 6. This is where you want to try and get something going. Now 2-0. Bobcats doing a very good job of not giving in to these certain pitches that Rakitic is throwing to them.
Yeah, look, this has been a really tough matchup, though, for Cassidy so far. Rakic has done a great job working him inside out, using that wipe-away slider. And again, you have to wonder, down 3-0 now, Cassidy's probably going to take the next pitch. However, if you're Rakic, are you looking for the ground ball here? You're trying to get the double play. Because with that wipe-out slider, there's a good chance that Cassidy can roll over on it.
Certainly is, and we have a little infield meeting here. Brings out the coach of Central Michigan, probably just to try and calm down Adam Rakic. I mean, there's not too much that he's done incorrectly. I believe I see some movement over in the Central Michigan bullpen, but it's kind of hard to tell with that screen in front of it. But one thing is for sure, Josh, this wind has not stopped the entire game so far. It is whipping.
The wind is what's been really cold about today because it's probably sitting right now at about 47 degrees.
Right.
So you could tell the sun's out. However, the wind has been cold. However, even with the cold, these balls are still carrying out like we saw on the Central Michigan home run from Mikey Murphy earlier in the game. They've done, the ball is still traveling even in the colder weather.
It certainly is, and that's something that you usually don't think about. You usually associate the ball traveling with that nice warm weather that causes it to do that. And that striking there from Adam Rakic might just be what he needed to get back to what we've seen him doing. Maybe that timeout right there. Maybe not. Ball 4. Back-to-back walks issued by Rakic. That's his first time, I think, going back-to-back walks that we've seen him do.
I don't think this is anything problematic for Rakic. He just missed a couple of corners right there. And, again, even that one that he just walked Cassidy on, it was really close. So, again, he's close to the zone right now.
Rakic gets his sign, and there he is once again dotting the corners. He gets that one first pitch strike against junior A.J. Roush. Bobcats, this is their time. No outs, and you have two guys on, especially one in scoring position. That's going to be slicing foul into the Central Michigan bullpen, but once again, the Bobcats down 0-2. A lot of times they're down 0-2 to Adam Rakic. He's been that consistent pitcher that the bullpen doesn't even have to worry about getting into the game. Rakic now just a bit high. A good take right there from A.J. Roush to now make it 1-2.
That's a really good setup pitch from Rakic, though, there. You always want to go with that high fastball 0-2. That's one that's really hard to get the barrel on. Now you have the off-speed available, and you could go back to that fastball.
He does, and that's going to be to Henning. Henning to Webb, and then Webb over to Westenfeld. Believe it's both outs.
I think we have an interference call, Gavin.
I believe it was interference, and Webb is shaken up over there at shortstop. Yeah, because they're going to be sending, it looks like, Finney back to second base. So much happened in that one little play right there that everyone's trying to sort it all out. Coaches are on the field, umpires are out, players are everywhere. But regardless, though, it's going to be a double play.
Looks like Coach Moore's pleading his case to the umpire here, too. You have to wonder, even in a situation like that, was Webb in the base path? So if Cassidy did try and slide to the bag, or did Cassidy deter his slide in order to hit Webb? So, again, I think that's what Coach Moore is talking with the umpires right now.
That's something very difficult to even establish, too, is if that is something. The umpire can only look at a couple things at once, so that's where the umpires kind of got to meet and say, hey, this is what happened or this is what I saw. But regardless, though, double play. Finney's still at second base. That brings up Bryce Smith, the first baseman. 1-0 to Smith. 2 outs now, but a guy in scoring position. But that's probably the last thing the Bobcats wanted to try and get back into this one. Just a bit outside on that one now, 2-0 to Bryce Smith. Once again now, Bobcats doing what they were doing earlier in the inning, getting ahead in their counts in the batter's box. And there's that strike that we've seen from Rakic do all day long, just pinning every single corner now, 2-1. Rakic gets his sign from Dardis. Same pitch, same spot. That fastball, and just pinning the corner so beautifully. 2-2 now. Rakic working fast against Bryce Smith. The windup and the pitch. Now that one, you can tell he's trying to get to that outside corner again, but now that one's a little bit too much outside.
Looked like he went with the slider there as well, give him a little bit of a different mix. Now he has Smith on his toes, so he can go inside, outside.
And he goes back inside and low. That one's going to squeak through. Here comes Alex Finney to home plate. He's going to stand up. And that's the Bobcats' first run. RBI single for Bryce Smith. A good piece of hitting on a full count right there to get the Bobcats their first run. So now 6-1. That brings up Blake Reed, who has a strikeout looking and a strikeout swinging. You got to wonder, can he keep it going? This is, again, like we said, Josh, it's not going to come back in all one inning. You got to keep on working, but you only have 3 innings left to try and cut into that lead and get back into this ballgame.
Yeah, I think if you're Ohio right now, you have 7 outs left. You know, that's all you get right now. So you have to be able to get hits. You have to be able to move runners. You have to be able to get guys on. And then when you get those guys on, you have to cash them in right now. You can't leave anybody on base in scoring position.
Rakic gets his sign just a little bit high. Bryce Smith had a good little jump over there at first base. Great job, too, by Dardis behind the plate to not allow that ball to get past him. Because, again, this big backstop, that's going to be an easy base up for the guy who's on base. Blake Reed swings and fouls that one off. One and one the count to Reed. Swings and misses at that one. Of course, have to mention that Reed worked with myself at the Copperheads over this summer. His brother, Braden, plays at Tri-C back in Cleveland. So baseball runs deep in the Reed family, as we can see. 2-2 now to Blake Reed. Bryce Smith still over there at first base after that RBI single scored Alex Finney moments ago. 2-2, 2 outs after that double play. The pitch to Reed, and Reed pops it up and out of play. Still 2-2. He's hanging in there and putting up a very nice AB.
Yeah, this is big for Rakic now, too, at this point in the game. His pitch count's starting to get up. You have to wonder if Central Michigan now turning over to the bullpen, even if Smith doesn't get on base here, which OU does need, it's done a good job of working the count.
And Blake Reed takes it looking. His third strikeout. Rakic now up to 8. 8 strikeouts from Rakic. As we will go into the bottom of the 7th inning. Chippewas up 6-1. Bobcats eke into it, but still work to do on Ohio Bobcat TV. Live look at Bob Wren Stadium, the location for this game between Central Michigan and Ohio. Luke Olson back there on the mound to face 6, 7, 8 of the Chippewas lineup. One and one count now to Elijah Henning, who had a strikeout swinging in his last at-bat. He swings at this one, now 1-2. Luke Olson again getting ahead of batters just like Dylan Masters did for most part in his start. And foul ball off of a half swing off the bat of Elijah Henning right there.
Yeah, went with that high fastball there up in the count. Tried to just get a chase out of him right there. He knew he wasn't going to throw that first strike. However, he did get the chase out of him there, so you got to wonder what's coming next.
That ball's going to it's not going to get down. Very hard line drive off the bat of Elijah Henning, but a great play out there by Mancino in right field. As that is the first inning. Luke Olson continuing his dominant performance like we saw in the last half inning. Brings up catcher Nick Dardis, who registered his first official at-bat in his last at-bat. Pop out to Antle in center field. Before that was a walk and a hit by a pitch as he falls behind to Luke Olson 0-1.
Yeah, something interesting about the Central Michigan lineup, too, is 8 out of their 9 starters have hits today, the only one being Bryson Webb. From top to bottom, this lineup has performed very, very well.
Very well indeed. I mean, when you have 8 out of your 9 guys with base hits, that's always going to spell success. 0-2 now. And that was going to be a very tough play for Dolan. Scoops it up. But it's not enough as Nick Dardis is able to sprint down the first base line. That was always going to be a very awkward and tough play for Dolan over there at third base to try and make that play. Dardis beats it out, though, for his first hit of the ball game. That brings up Jake Brill, the senior center fielder who has reached base each of his last 2 times, both of them via singles. Single to up the gut and single to left field were the stories of his game so far, besides that strikeout in the second inning. He's done a very good job. He came into this one batting .220 with 7 ribbies to his name, as well as 6 stolen bases. So a guy who you want to make sure he doesn't get on base, and that one's tipped off. Right behind the plate.
Got to wonder, too, here, after, like we said earlier, Olson throwing 61 pitches on Wednesday, do you let him finish this game out? Do you want to waste another arm that you could potentially use next game, or do you just let Olson settle in, finish this game out, and then go into the next part of the doubleheader? With the bullpen, you're trying to save it probably for that next game, and then you even have a quick turnaround on Sunday.
Certainly do. That one, the shot, a line drive into center field. Dardis goes from first to third, and a great hit from Jake Brill. His third hit, 3 of 4. Now in this game, that brings up Eli Stewart, the third baseman, who hit into a double play last at bat. Certainly does not want to do that in this one. Guys on first and third, you wonder if they might send Brill to eliminate that double play chance.
Yeah, Central Michigan doing a really good job of reading Olson right now. They're seeing the fastball out of his hand very well. Olson has to mix in that off speed just a little bit more, keep Central Michigan on their toes.
Certainly does. He's done a heavy diet of fastball so far. Not really, again, throwing in that off speed like you talked about. Olson checks on Brill over at first base. Again, we talked about his 6 stolen bases on the year. Definitely something that you want to keep an eye on. Luke Olson looks in to get a sign from Cassidy. Shows bunt. Cassidy is going to get Brill. That was a very interesting play because it seemed that Dardis was trying to go home.
Well, Brill didn't get the best of jumps there. So Brill, instead of trying to slide into second base, tried to get into a rundown. So that way, OU would take all their attention to him and take it off of Dardis, so Dardis could get to home plate and score. However, it looked like Brill just got too close to the bag, and OU had an easy tag out right there.
Seemed like that now. This one's popped up way behind home plate. And that one's going to get out of play for a foul ball. 2 outs now for the Bobcats, but you still have that dangerous presence over there at third base in the form of Nick Dardis, who once again went from first to third on that Jake Brill single. Then he was caught stealing. 1-1, 2 outs. 6-1 in favor of the Chippewas. And that one swung on and fouled off once again. Stewart just putting up a good at-bat here, seeing pitches that he likes from Luke Olson. Olson steps back onto the rubber, looks into his catcher Cassidy, gets his sign, comes set. Luke Olson delivers, and it's just a bit high. 2-2. Nick Dartis getting a big lead over there at third base, too.
Yeah, Ohio not really paying attention to Dartis over there on third. They're probably not going to try anything, do a pickoff play here. Also just going to give him a look.
And a swing and a miss. Stewart goes down swinging. Luke Olson with yet another K. That's his 6th of the ball game. That takes us to the top of the 8th inning. We'll be right back on Ohio Bobcat TV. Welcome back into Ohio Bobcat TV. Pitching change for Central Michigan. Now on the bump is graduate student Bryce Helgeth, the 6'2" right-hand pitcher from Arlington Heights, Illinois. 101 record, 7.50 ERA, 12 innings pitched, 9 walks, 13 strikeouts, and 1 save in 9 appearances for Helgeth.
Yeah, he's going to work in that fastball, curveball, changeup mix, pretty typical out of your right-handed pitchers. So, again, Helga's just trying to calm Ohio's bats down for 2 more innings. Again, he has a 5-run lead to work with, so he's put in a good spot right here where he can close this game out.
Certainly has, and that's a hot shot off the bat of Nick Dolan, and he's going to get on base safely as Webb just couldn't come up with that ball cleanly. Absolute stinger off the bat of Nick Dolan, a great piece of hitting to see that ball. Wasn't the most favorable of counts, but he was still able to do a great job, and he was able to get back on base. Actually, I should say get on base for the first time in this ball game. And that flips around the lineup to Paulie Mancino, the freshman right fielder. 0 for 3 is his line today. So he takes ball 1 in the dirt from Bryce Helgeth. Got to wonder, too, maybe what was the reasoning behind taking out Mrakic. Maybe it was that last inning where he just kind of gave up a little bit. That ball's on the ground. Webb to Henning. Over to Westenfeld, and that's the 6-4-3 double play. Not what the Bobcats wanted in that situation at all, Josh.
Perfect turn there from the Central Michigan defense, Gavin. 6-4-3, exactly what you want. Defense did their job, and Central Michigan, again, that was a good first at-bat start to the inning from Dolan, and then unfortunately, Paulie Mancino grounding into that double play really rally kills for Ohio here.
Absolutely it was. And you wonder, too, if that might have been possibly the dagger. Great play over there by Stewart at third base, and he's going to go 5-3 to get J.R. Nelson out. And that's going to spell an inning to what was a very promising inning for the Bobcats. That ends this top half of the eighth. We'll go into the bottom half of the eighth when Central Michigan comes back to bat, only on Ohio Bobcat TV. And welcome back to Bob Wren Stadium. Pitching change for the Ohio Bobcats. Carson Denham, his 6'2" right-handed pitcher, comes into this game, and he does quick work right there. 5-3 goes Bryson Webb to start off this bottom half of the eighth inning. Denham, the graduate student out of Cape May Courthouse, New Jersey. 0-0 record, 8.44 ERA, 5.1 innings pitched, 2 Ks, and 2 walks in 4 appearances so far for Ohio this season. Did a great job right there of coming in and closing the door on Bryson Webb very quickly right there, Josh.
Yeah, Denham doing a good job again, getting ahead of counts. Worked his first 2 batters in the 0-1 counts. So if you're Denham, you just want to get out of here, 0 runs, and then go see if your team can come back in the next inning and, work quickly, work efficiently, and get some outs.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is, again, now Ohio will come back with only 3 outs to play with, and as of now, down 6-1 in this one. So time is most certainly not in favor of the Bobcats for the rest of this contest. But you never know. Crazier things can happen in the month of March. Dolan bobbles it a little bit, but he makes the play once again, a 5-3 situation as Donahue then goes down 5-3, just the same as Bryson Webb, and that brings up Danny Westenfeld, who reached on a walk and only stayed at first base last time. So a good job of limiting him from not going to that next base, something that Central Michigan has done all game so far, Josh.
Yeah, Gavin, 13 hits on the day for Central Michigan. A lot of them have been extra base hits. We have 1 homer, a triple, and it looks like 2-3 doubles, again, from Central Michigan. So they've done a good job getting in the gaps.
Certainly have, and Westenfeld now up in the count 2-0. Good eye on that first pitch, and that second one was just not really a contest to even try and go for that one. The windup and the pitch, and that one's popped out into shallow right field. Not able to make the play was Paulie Mancino. He was sprinting, lost his hat, even trying to make the play, but unfortunately just not enough, or just seeing the ball was just carrying, which is kind of interesting because That wind was blowing in, and that ball just kept on carrying.
Yeah, Westenfeld got a little bit jammed on the inside fastball there, and, he couldn't get the barrel really on that, but that ball really carried a lot, for just what looked like just to be a simple pop-up. It ended up carrying almost halfway down to right field. So
Yeah, and that's something that we've seen too, is the balls just keep on carrying. Even though it's a cold and windy day, the wind's blowing from left to right and in. Yeah, these balls are still carrying very far. Now 3-1 count against Westenfeld. And a great job right there of picking the corners by Carson Denham. He battles back to 3-2, 2 outs in this bottom half of the 8th inning. The windup and the pitch, and a beautiful pitch right there from Carson Denham. My, oh my, what a beautiful pitch that was. And he gets Westenfeld looking silly. That's his first strikeout. The Bobcats now down to 3 outs. We go to the top of the 9th inning. Ohio is down 6-1 against Central Michigan. We'll be right back on Ohio Bobcat TV. Welcome back to the top half of the 9th inning here at Bob Wren Stadium in Athens, Ohio. 3-4-5 due up for the Bobcats, and leading off is Gideon Ansel, the senior center fielder for the Bobcats. 0 for 3 is his line with a couple of pop-outs. Josh, this is definitely the guy who you want to try and spark that comeback in this top half of the 9th inning here.
Yeah, Gavin, you could tell Antel's been on it all day. He just hasn't translated that to hits. He's had 3 hard hits now on the day, and he just hasn't found a way to get on base and find gaps.
Another hard hit ball, but right to Stewart over that third base, and he makes the simple 5-3 play. Stewart to Westenfeld. Bobcats now down to their last 2 outs. Brings up now the 5th-year second baseman Alex Finney, who reached on a walk last time and came all the way around to score the only Bobcats run so far on this one. Bryce Helgett's still out there. Gets his time from Dardis. Looks in. That's low, ball 1 to Alex Finney.
Again, like we said earlier, Finney really been consistent in the OU lineup today. 2 walks and a double. So he's been a big contributor in what has been a rather quiet day for the Ohio offense.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those hits, and the hits certainly do not favor Ohio. Getting out hit very much so. I believe that says 12-3 on the scoreboard out there. Another ball right there, 2-1. Now the count to Alex Finney. Again, like you said, Josh, he's been probably the only consistent guy to get on base, whether that's via hits or via walks. He puts that one up the middle, but it's Webb. Does a great job of fleeing the ball in stride. Webb to Westenfeld, and the Bobcats now down to their last out. 6-3 put out right there. That brings up the freshman catcher Trey Cassidy, who reached on a walk his last time. Bobcats could definitely use something like that right now. Any base, any guy that can get on base, rather, is just what the Bobcats need. And Cassidy takes that first one outside from Bryce Helgeth. Second pitch is low and away. 2-0 now to the Bobcat catcher, Trey Cassidy.
Gavin, you mentioned a little bit earlier about Blake Reed and how his family, is very big into baseball. Trey Cassidy is another one, too. His dad actually played in the Miami Marlins system. So at that point in time, again, another guy who baseball has been his thing probably for a while.
Baseball runs in the family here for probably many students. And he thought he had ball 4. Umpire disagrees with that when he tossed the bat, looking to go down to first base, and the umpire said, not so fast. I'm going to call that one a strike there on the inside corner. I believe this is also the first time that Cassidy has gone lefty-righty. First time he's faced a righty, I believe, in this one, and he draws the same result as his last plate appearance. He gets the walk, 2 walks and 2 strikeouts to the Trey Cassidy's name. That brings up junior left fielder A.J. Roush, who hit into a double play his last at-bat. Certainly wants to avoid hitting into any out just to try and extend this game and keep the Bobcats going. And he hits a nice line drive, but it's not going to be enough to get over Brill, and he makes the putout for the end of this contest. The first game of this doubleheader belongs to the Central Michigan Chippewas as they take down the Ohio Bobcats 6-1 in this one. We'll be right back in about 45 minutes for the second game of this doubleheader. Once again, the full 9 innings. Daniel Barnard will have the call for that one. Josh, any final thoughts?
Gavin, Ohio has to bounce back in this second game. Now they fall to 3-4 in MAC conference play. And as we said earlier, every game in the MAC matters. And Central Michigan, do not be fooled by their 4-17 record. This is a really good baseball team. And again, today they did a great job, or in the first game, they did a great job of playing small ball, stealing bases, and scratching runs across, which is what won them the game.
Central Michigan gets their second win in the MAC, a big W for them as they try to climb up those MAC standings. But for Josh Erner, I'm Gavin Carrig. We will see y'all in that next game. Take care.